Okay. Good evening. This is Dr. Shen again from West Virginia University. Sorry to bother you again. Let's finish talk about lacto-operon. So we mentioned, I said that there's a homework for you to fill the table of the 4 different situations. And I'll draw the picture here. The first situation, which is if we have a lactose, but no glucose, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? So in this situation, you will see this inhibitor is not going to attach to the operator because this inhibitor has been combined with allolactose. The allolactose is right here. And then on the positive control, which is the left side, because no glucose, so what happens? This CAMP will combine to the CAP, catabolic activate protein. So therefore, what's going to happen? This RNA polymerase will combine the promoter, so the transcription will start to happen from 5' to 3'. And that makes sense because no glucose, we have a lactose. There's no single sugar and monosaccharides. Bacteria has to survive. They use a disugar, double sugar, which is disaccharides. Now the second situation, if in the median we have a lactose and a glucose, both, what you're gonna do? Now the situation will become, since you have a lactose, so the inhibitor will also combine with allolactose and change the morphology. So they will not attach to the operator. But how about the CAMP? Is the CAMP going to attach to the CAP? No. And we mentioned that because glucose there, this glucose will become glucose 6-phosphate through group translocation. So therefore, is the RNA polymerase will combine to the P? No, of course not. It's not going to combine. So, do you have anything happens for the transcription? Is this going to happen? No, it's not going to happen. Because in this situation, bacteria are going to use glucose first, then use lactose. This is where we're going to have a dioxic growth curve. Is that right? Okay, now let's say here. So there's no lactose, but there's a glucose. Now you can think about, because there's no lactose, obviously the lactose will not be, lacto-operon will not going to work. So what's the mechanism? Because there is no lactose, so the inhibitor will be going to the O position, attached to it. Okay? Because there is a glucose there, so what's going to happen? This CAMP also will not attach to the CAMP area. Both positive and negative control doesn't work. Therefore, the RNA polymerase will not attach to the promoter. This is not going to happen. So the transcription 5' to 3' will not happen. This is very simple. You can understand it's in your family. Both your parents, your mother-in-law and the father-in-law, they're not going to get along very well. So for bacteria, they're not going to work. Same thing. Okay, the last thing, there's no lactose, there's no glucose. Same thing here, if there's no lactose, this inhibitor will attach to the O. Okay? How about the left side? Because no glucose, so the CAMP will attach to the CAP area. But how about RNA polymerase? Are they going to attach to the P, the promoter? No, they're not going to do that. And I mentioned for lacto operon, the positive and negative control both have to work very well. Okay, so is this going to happen? The 5' to 3'. Transcription? No, nothing going to happen. So the only thing will happen is right here. Okay? So this is like twist your mind. 20 years ago, I was same with you sitting in the classroom and listen to Dr. Joe and Dr. John's class. I confused too. But when you read more book, you study by yourself, study hard, you will understand those materials. Okay, we finished talk about lacto operon. Remember, cap, promoter, operator, lag Z, lag Y, lag A, and lag Z is beta glycosidics. Okay, then we're gonna move on to talk a little bit about DNA recombination. And I want to tell you one thing, because of the lacto operon, people do something about this lag Z. Okay, so let's say I had this vector. And this vector, PUC19, it's a vector. Now, once you have a vector, they must be to meet 3 requirements. Number 1, there is an original place of replication, which means they can do replication by itself. Number 2, they need to have a selective marker. Now, for this type of the vector, the selective marker is always AMPR. What is that? That is resistant to ampicillin. Now, ampicillin, you know, it's a group of penicillin because most of the E. coli are susceptible to ampicillin. If the E. coli become resistant to ampicillin, then that can be using for some genetic stuff. Number 3, they need to have a multiple cloning site. Okay, this is going to be the key here. What will be the multiple cloning site? For PUC19 vector, they have a very special sequencing, which is GAATTC. So this is rounding 5' to 3'. So based on the gene complementary policy, rounding opposite direction, you have GAATTC. So let's move it horizontal. GAATTC, CTTAAG, 5' to 3', 3' to 5'. Do you see this sequence is very magic? From left side to the right side, looks like it's exactly the same. And something can cut it there. What is this called? This is called sticky ends. And something can cut it, we call it restriction enzyme. Okay? Restriction enzyme, I still remember the textbook Dr. Joe and Dr. John edited. They say it's a very magic molecular operator tool to talk about the restriction enzyme because they recognize sticky ends. Now, the first restriction enzyme created in the world is ECO-R1, coming from E. coli. It's about 1960s. They recognize this special sequencing as the sticky ends. So I want to talk a little bit more. Restriction enzyme, it's originally happened is in a bacteria. But how often it happens, how often it has a special sequencing? The frequency is low. How it is? About 1 to 3,000 and 1 to 4,000. Not very often, because at the beginning what they do, they'll actually to survive or resistant to a virus attacking. And this virus attacking, we call it bacteriophage. And you know the bacteriophage, they can attack a bacteria, could be lytic, could be template. Okay, it's a bit, if it's a very warm, nice bacteriophage, their DNA sequencing could be integrated into a bacterial genome. But how about the lytic? Then the bacteria will completely break down. Okay, let's say you have a genome like this, it will be completely break down, lytic or lysis. Now for bacteria itself, they are resistant to virus attacking. Now how are they going to protect by themselves? Because you have a virus attacking. At the same time, they still have to survive. They're not going to be recognized by themselves. Is that right? If you have a sequencing, you have an equal R1, they may attack by themselves. What they do? They are doing something which is adding CH3. What is that? Adding a methyl end there. Rely on methylase. So restriction enzyme sort of very simple, understandable. This is an immune system for a bacteria. And the people recognized, finding in 1960, to cut sticky ends. So then we're going to talk about briefly about recombination, how they do it. Okay, let's say I have we go back here. We have a vector. Okay, this vector is PUC19. Okay, I had a resistant area AMPR. And I have a GTTAAC, and in other words, GTTAAC, that's a sticky end. Okay, I had a restriction enzyme, equal or 1, we'll cut it. After I cut it, I'm going to be adding some new stuff. Okay, the new stuff you need to be, because of the sticky end, so they need to have something still can be complementary to the original stuff. So what are we going to become? Let's say I have a new sequencing, which is GTTAAC, then we have CAATTG. Let's say this big chunk of linear sequence. I'm going to go adding there. Okay, this is a vector. This is a foreign DNA sequence. You must have these, then you can combine. After combine, you become what? This is still the same. This is PUC19, is still the same. Okay, we had AMPR. Then we're gonna have is CTTAAG. Then go here, we have GAATTC. But then you're gonna have a big chunk of this new stuff. So when you added this original sequence here is for LAC-Z. Once you recombine it here, you are going to add in this new sequence there. What does that mean? This leg Z is blocked. Okay, so how we identify, we successfully do the recombination. There is two different ways to do. Method number one. I'm going to do the spread plating onto an agar called X scale. Because I have a vector, I have a recombination product. This is a recombination product. So, based on the color change, we can see it. Original vector, because they still have a sequencing for the leg Z on the X scale median, they still can hydrolyze X scale, become galactose. Sorry. Therefore, it is showing you blue colony. Okay, so when you see those blue colony, that means this is a vector. Because they break down the X scale. X scale is a surrogate median for lactose. Surrogate median for lactose. Now, when you plate it, you will see some of the colony, which is a white color. What means it's white color? White color, which means this X scale has not been broken down. So, this is a DNA recombination products. And remember, we have a pure colony there. A single colony, which means a pure culture, represents one genome name and one species name. So this is one of the ways to do. Now, what are the second way we're going to do that? The second way we can do is we can do 5% agarose gel electrophoresis. And you know that. This is what it looks like. You've done all this bunch of stuff in the lab. Okay? So we have these wells. And then you let them run the bands. You run in different direction. Okay? That could be on the top. Could be on the bottom. Now, how they run fast or slow? This is positive charged, this is negative charged. And DNA is negative charged, is that right? So they run this direction. And if you see a higher molecular weight, recombine the products, they're going to run at the bottom. And the light one, you will see on the top. So that you can separate them. Because once you recombine, and what happens is the molecular weight will be changed. And then tells you some difference after you run the gel electrophoresis. Okay? So this is what I end the talk about lacto-operon. And we mentioned the broad-based biochemistry knowledge. I want to mention is that I got my bachelor degree of veterinary medicine at Nanjing Agricultural University from 2000 to 2006. Got my bachelor degree, master degree there, and I go ahead to study in Colorado State University. And my focus later on is become food science, which is meat safety and pathogen control with antimicrobials, thermal, non-thermal technology. And in West Virginia University, I also have a 20-30% extension service. So my research is basically is applied. So I don't do too much molecular stuff, but I like to teaching. I'd like to share my thoughts with students. And I like all of you, and unfortunately, because of the pandemic, I cannot be on the campus. I would love to come in next time when we have the opportunity. and just want to share with you all my thoughts. And you may know much better than me. And so thank you very much for bearing with me for almost 1 hour, and have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.